Imagining Chapel. My name is Amanda Esco, and I am the director of the Religious Education Program here at the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. Thank you for joining us today. It's time to light our chalice. Do you have one at home? If you do, go run and grab it, come right back with me, and we'll light them together. So our intention today, I rolled our dice earlier, is for understanding. And the action with how we're going to take that understanding is quite apropos, through service. I have my candle, I have my chalice. I'm ready to roll. Are you? All right. We light this chalice for understanding. In the spirit of service, we gather together in community to learn, to grow, and to serve. As we begin today, I'd like us to take some meditative breaths. We slow down when we're entering a worship space, when we're entering a worship moment. We take that time to slow ourselves down. So we're going to do our hand meditation today. So hold your hand out in front of you or like this. I like it like this though. So we're going to hold our hand out. And as I move my finger up, I'm going to breathe in. And as I go down, I breathe out. Are you ready to do it with me? All right, let's breathe. We're going to start by centering ourselves. You can stand or sit, whatever works for you. Ready? I also like to close my eyes. Letting all the air out. Deep breath in. Deep breath in. Last time. Deep breath in. Now we have slowed our bodies down. We've slowed our breath down. Hopefully we've slowed our minds down so we can settle into our hearts. That's why we take those meditative moments, so we can slow and calm and quiet it all down around us. Another practice we like to do is to share our joys and concerns. You share your joys and concerns with those that are with you at home. I'm going to share them with my friends here, and we'll be back in a minute. Thank you for sharing your joys and concerns with the people that are with you, that love you the most. I'll say a big joy for me is starting this weekend, February 20th. We're going to be back in person. Now, does that mean we're going to leave our asynchronous or our virtual friends alone? Absolutely not. We will still be meeting on Zoom and have our YouTube channel. So we'll see you in person, we'll see you on Zoom, and we'll see you on YouTube. So those are all the things that I'm joyous for this week. I hope you were able to share about you. Now, Miss Lissa has our UU of the Week this week. Thank you, Lissa.
Hello and welcome to UU of the Week. My name is Lissa Lander, and I'm the Religious Education Assistant at the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. This week, we are going to learn about Frederic Henry Hedge. He was a Unitarian minister, founder of the Transcendentalist Club, and also helped shape the Transcendentalist philosophy. Frederic Henry Hedge was born in 1805 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He was very bright as a young man and could have entered Harvard at a very young age, but his father wanted him to study more before he did that. So he sent Frederic to Germany, which later helped Hedge become one of America's foremost experts in German literature at the time. When Hedge returned to America, he entered Harvard at the age of 17 and finished his first degree very quickly and graduated valedictorian and class poet. I didn't know that was a thing, but it's very exciting. Then he attended Harvard Divinity right after graduating, which is where he met his close friend, Ralph Waldo Emerson. In 1833, Hedge published an article in the Christian Examiner, which was later called the first expression of transcendentalism. So we remember that transcendentalism was among the first truly American philosophies. It focuses on the inherent goodness of people and nature and the importance of self-reliance. They believed that a person could find a direct connection to the divine in nature, and that spiritual ideas did not need to be taught or interpreted through clergy. So Ralph Waldo Emerson was such a fan of this essay that Hedge wrote that they soon began meeting whenever Hedge traveled to Boston. They called it Hedge's Club, but later called it the Transcendentalist Club as more members started to join. There were UU of the Week alums like Henry David Thoreau, Theodore Parker, and James Freeman Clarke. They also met with Hedge and Emerson. And after about a year of meeting, Emerson decided to let the club include women and invited Margaret Fuller. So, as time passes and the club keeps meeting, Fuller and Emerson began to edit a magazine called The Dial, which was full of liberal ideas and religious dissent. Hedge started to distance himself from the Transcendentalist Club at this point, though he did contribute a few pieces of writing to The Dial. Fuller and Emerson were envisioning a new path towards what they called a universal church and creed. But Hedge and a few others in the club supported the American Unitarian Association. So Frederic Henry Hedge became a well-respected member of the Boston Unitarian establishment and led a comfortable life teaching at Harvard Divinity until his death at the age of 85 in 1890. Well, that was interesting, and I thank you so much for joining me for this edition of UU of the Week, and be sure to join us again soon.
Hello! We have spent the last 7 weeks looking at our Unitarian Universalist sources, and we're finally at the end, our 6 source. As we know, our sources help us do the work of our 4th principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The sources are where we draw inspiration from on our own individual spiritual journeys. Let's see if what's in my wonder box will help us with this source. Oh, I have some leaves and bark. Our 6th source says that we should find inspiration from the spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Director of Religious Education Gail Forsyth Vale wrote this about our 6th source. The world is full of mystery. Many Unitarian Universalists have pondered the natural world as a means of considering the greatness of life. Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote extensively about finding religion in nature. The beauty, order, and mystery of nature calls us to consider our place in this shared earth. Earth-centered traditions have long recognized and honored the power of nature. Ancients view the trees and the forest as divine. They honored the mystery of life cycles, vegetation dying each autumn and reversing each spring. Pagan traditions have rituals and observances that bespeak a deep appreciation of nature. The fertility of the natural world, so crucial to the survival of life, then as now, is symbolized in the union of Great Mother and her consort, the divine spirit of the trees. Christianity spread throughout Europe during the Middle Ages, and the church then assimilated many pagan traditions. The various names for the Great Mother became the names of saints. Her male consort became the tree of life in Christian iconography. The Christian church saw the spirit of nature as reflecting God's grace. Now, Throughout time, people, including Unitarian Universalists, have found their spiritual center in nature and earth-centered traditions, such as those from modern-day paganism. Singer and songwriter Peter Mayer wrote this poem, published in the book Sources of Our Faith. Now, in the poem, I want to talk about this. He uses the word God, but we know that when people use that word, we can use what feels comfortable to us. God, the divine spirit amongst the earth. In Islam, there's the idea that God has 99 names, and that the idea encompasses so much we almost can't identify them all, or that is an idea filled with wonder and awe. Our sixth source invites space for all of these ideas and more in relation with the earth, which we are a part of. Here is Peter's poem. In the ever-shifting water of the river of this life, I was swimming, seeking comfort. I was wrestling waves to find. A boulder I could cling to, a stone to hold me fast, where I might let the fretful water of this river round me pass. And so I found an anchor, a blessed resting place, a trusty rock I called my savior, for there I would be safe from the river and its dangers. And I proclaimed my rock divine, and I prayed to it, protect me. And the rock replied, God is a river, not just a stone. God is a wild, raging rapids and a slow, meandering flow. God is deep and narrow passage and a peaceful, sandy shoal. God is the river, swimmer, so let go. Still I clung to my rock tightly with conviction in my arms, never looking at the stream to keep my minds from thoughts of harm. But the river kept on coming, kept on tugging at my legs, till at last my fingers faltered and I was swept away. So I'm going with the flow now, these relentless twists and bends, acclimating to the motion and a sense of being led. And this river's like my body now, it carries me along through the ever-changing scenes and by the rocks that sing this song. The poem brings up the idea that we are part of nature and its rhythms, like the river waves. Our sixth source opens the door for us to honor the ancient rhythms of earth-centered traditions. Starting next week, we are going to be talking about our theme for the month of March, and we'll begin our next big task, looking at our 8 principles of Unitarian Universalism. Until next time, though, I'd love us to heart out.
One, each person is important to